I live in a small town in northern Nevada where nights are so dark you can't see the end of your driveway. One winter evening, I was alone watching TV when I heard a knock at my front door. It wasn't frantic, just slow, deliberate. When I opened it, two kids stood there, maybe 12 or 13. They were pale, dressed in outdated clothes, and their eyes were entirely black, no whites. One of them said, "We need to come in. Our parents will be here soon." The voice was flat, emotionless. I felt this crushing wave of dread, like something deep in me was screaming to shut the door. I stammered that I couldn't help them and tried to close it, but the boy's hand shot out, pressing against the door frame. That's when the porch light flickered, and they both stepped back into the darkness without a word. The knocking never came again. I worked the overnight shift at a rural gas station off the highway. One night around 2 a.m., a beat-up sedan pulled up to the pump. Two kids got out, a boy and a girl, both maybe 10. They didn't come inside right away. They just stood at the window watching me. When I finally asked if they needed help, the girl said, "We need to use your phone. Our mother will be here soon." That's when I saw their eyes, pitch black, like pools of ink. Something primal in me screamed to get away. I told them the phone was broken and locked the door. They just stood there, not moving, for a full 5 minutes. When I looked again, the sedan was gone. The pumps had no record of fuel being purchased. This happened when I was 17, home alone during a summer thunderstorm. The power had gone out, so I was sitting in the living room lit only by lightning flashes through the window. Around 11 p.m., I heard a soft, polite knock at the back door. When I opened it, two boys were standing there, drenched from the rain. They smiled faintly, and I froze. Their eyes were black, all black. One said, "We can't come in unless you invite us." Every instinct screamed, "Don't." I stepped back and slammed the door. For the next hour, the knocking came and went, always soft, always polite. When my parents got home, there was no one outside, just small, muddy footprints leading into the woods. I was staying at a small roadside motel in Arizona during a solo road trip. It was past midnight, and I had just stepped out to grab ice from the machine at the end of the hall. Halfway there, I noticed two kids standing by the vending machine. They were both barefoot, wearing thin pajamas like they had just walked out of a house, not a motel. The hallway lighting was dim, but I could see their faces, pale, almost gray. And then the boy looked at me. His eyes, both of theirs, were solid black. The girl asked softly, "Do you have change for the machine?" Her voice was polite but cold, like she wasn't actually asking. I mumbled no and backed away toward my room. When I looked back a second later, the hallway was empty. When I was 14, I lived across from a small park. One summer evening, just after sunset, I noticed two kids on the swings. It was strange because the park had been empty all day. I walked over, curious, but when I got within a few feet, they both stopped swinging in unison. The boy smiled, his teeth perfectly straight, too perfect, and I saw his eyes. Black. The girls were the same. She said that they were lost and they needed someone to walk them home. The air felt suddenly colder, and my stomach dropped. I stuttered something and walked away fast. When I looked back from my porch, the swings were moving, but the kids were gone. This happened when I was house-sitting for a family friend. Their basement had these small ground-level windows that looked out into the backyard. Around 2 a.m., I was in the kitchen when I heard tapping, faint but steady. I went down to the basement to check and froze. Two faces were pressed up against the glass, upside down from the slope of the yard. They were kids, pale skin, black eyes reflecting the basement light. One of them grinned and whispered something I couldn't hear through the glass. I backed away slowly and locked the basement door. The tapping continued for another minute, then silence. The next morning, I looked to see if there was any sign of those things. But there were no footprints in the wet grass outside and no one to be found.